Okay, Mike, so what brought you to the Unstoppable Baller?
Well, I'm an avid mountain biker. I ride about 6 days a week, and I suffered an injury a couple of years ago where I actually had a rotator cuff tear. And as part of that, I started going through physical therapy. Physical therapy peaked out really quickly, and I wasn't anywhere near where I had been prior to the injury. And when I went in for surgery, the surgeon had told me that the prognosis was I could get back to 100%. And so I knew I needed to get back to 100%. And I knew I needed to try something different to go that direction. And so I reached out to Sumer because I'd worked with him in the past and seen really, really effective results. I remember just bragging that 3 months of training with Sumer helped me to get more flexible and more mobile than 3 years of doing yoga. So I figured that Sumer could help, and when I got connected back with Sumer and the team, it was fantastic. Just going and talking to him the first time and just getting a little demonstration of what we'd be doing, I immediately saw the results I was looking for. The approach of treating the whole body and looking at each muscle, in the context of the chain it's working in was huge, and I was just ready to jump right in. So we jumped in with an intensive. I was up every morning at 5 a.m. and after the first morning, I just couldn't wait. I was looking forward to it. It was energizing me. And then after that intensive of really getting the baseline we needed to go from there, I started jumping into training a couple times a week and then taking it home with me and doing homework as well, just to make sure I could get back to where I was. And within about 2 or 3 months, we were back to where my baseline had been prior to injury. What was amazing though was after that, the progress didn't stop. So what we figured out pretty quickly was there were previous injuries that had led to this recurring plateau in training where I would get injured because there were things that just weren't quite working right with my posture. There were things that weren't quite working right with my feet, with my ankles, my hips, and my shoulders. So being able to treat each of those as a whole, but also individually, was super helpful because now my balance is a lot more steady. I know what the right engagement feels like. And so not only am I able to carry this forward and continue to work to become more mobile, more flexible, and stronger and injury-proof my body, but I'm not going to crash the same way anymore because I'm not loading up the wrong side to compensate for injuries from years and years and years ago. So this not only has got me back to the previous state I was looking for, but I plan on riding off into my 60s, 70s, even my 80s, like my dad does right now. And this is the way we're gonna get there. So it's been huge, huge impact in terms of showing me what's possible. And it's really, really helped my progression as a mountain biker. Even though I know that these guys haven't typically worked with a lot of mountain bikers, it was amazing the way the team was just able to customize the treatment to exactly what I needed. And just the folks you're working with, I was working with Joel a ton, and that relationship just continued to bond. We continue to find new areas and just kind of customize and tailor the training program to make sure that we were hitting the important pieces for me to progress, and those would shift from day to day and from week to week. So that part was unreal.
What were some of the big injuries you had coming into this?
Mm-hmm.
And then how did it change going back to biking? How did your performance shift?
Yep. So the injury change started when I was 18. I sliced my knee open doing some skiing out in Taos, and I didn't take the time to properly recover from that before leaving for boot camp and joining the Marines. I think what that probably led to was loading up my left side a little bit too much in the wrong way, which led to a stress fracture in my left foot. That then led to a stress fracture in my right foot because I left that left foot untreated. I just wasn't aware it was there. So I stress fractured both feet with clean breaks and metatarsals like 2 and 3, I think. And because of the military shortage of medical appliances or devices at that time, I was just given crutches and told to walk on the sides of my feet. What that led to was my feet weren't really working right. And I sunk into my ankles and basically started loading up the left side of my body even worse. That led to my right hip staying too open. It led to my right shoulder dipping a little bit, and it led to my right pec atrophying just a little bit, not quite having the same strength as the left side. Now, what this wound up leading to on the bike was loading up the left side a little too much. So, you know, not surprisingly, I broke my left shoulder before I broke my right shoulder. And throughout that would continue just to crash hard on my left side and continue to upset different elements of that. And with each crash, without proper recovery, I was just continuing to reinforce the, you know, elements of physiology that were out of whack that made me crash in the first place. So attacking those was a big piece of what's led to the success and why I've seen a lot of the progress I've seen, you know, while I've been training here with Unstoppable Baller.
What have you been able to do on the bike now that you couldn't before coming to us?
On the bike, my balance is at a state now where the fear of leaving the ground is gone. So I've always ridden like a racer, which means that you know how to jump, but you stay low. Sometimes it's a lot more fun to jump high, and the way that they're building bike parks these days and the way they're building features, a lot of them do require having that skill. And so being able to now have the confidence that I'm gonna be able to land, and even if I'm off balance, regain my balance, gives me the confidence to boost off a jump and learn some new skills that just make biking a whole lot more fun, but also make trails accessible to me that weren't before. I'm about to set off on a long road trip and be, you know, an opening weekend for one of the bigger bike parks in Denver, or in the Denver area, and then I'm gonna head out from there and head up to British Columbia and ride Whistler Bike Park. You know, I don't know that I'd have the confidence going into some of these just epic trails if I didn't have that sense of balance, if I hadn't regained that strength in my shoulder and wasn't sure that regardless of how I land, I've got a really, really good chance of regaining my balance. And if I don't, I know how to take the impact appropriately and regain my balance when it's time. So I think that's going to be a huge piece of what keeps me riding long into the future, and what makes, you know, any future crashes less of an impact, and is also going to make recovery just an easier and more palatable thing.
Pain levels you experience in your body now compared to what you had before?
So the pain is the weird thing, because I really didn't experience pain. It was just, I would experience muscle failure. So what's interesting though is I have noticed that, you know, I think I used to wake up a lot stiffer, and that would affect my mood. And now when I wake up in the morning, I just feel a lot more relaxed, at ease, and I can go for a walk first thing without, you know, any achiness or any stiffness, and everything's moving correctly.
Someone's tried physical therapy, chiropractors, everything in the book, doctors and surgery. They're skeptical of this program. They're athletes, they want to get back to their sport. What would you tell them?
I would say, come talk to you guys. Just, you know, at least give it a chance to meet one-on-one, because that's really what's going to give you an idea of what the program looks like. You know, if somebody were asking me why they should come and talk to you guys, just have that initial consultation, I would tell them that I tried physical therapy, I tried doing it on my own, I tried yoga, I tried different workout techniques, anything I could find on the internet, and nothing worked. Like, I was still plateauing, still staying at the same level, still had, you know, that uneasy feeling that if I took an impact, I wasn't gonna be strong enough to actually go through it, and I'd injure myself even worse.